Okay, we're live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Norn Way live session tonight. Like we've been telling you, it is a very special session tonight because we'll be hosting, and we have with us a very special guest who has joined us all the way from the United States of America. He's a success coach, a business coach, an entrepreneur, and an inspirational motivational speaker. He's impacted many around the world, and his work is absolutely phenomenal and inspirational. And yes, meet Mr. Jeff Heggie, and I will just have him introduce himself to you.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to be with you all. This is a great opportunity. And yeah, I'll just take a minute to introduce myself. And so I am in Arizona in the United States of America. Originally, I grew up and lived in Southern Alberta in Canada for my entire life. And then in 2016, we moved down here, had a tie in with a business opportunity with one of my existing businesses. And so we moved down here, and it's been a great experience for us. I've got a wife, I've got 4 children, and our lives revolve around them, especially with their sporting events and stuff. But yeah, I've got a diverse background. I went through my schooling. I actually majored in entrepreneurship. And then while I was going to school, I worked at a banking institution. And when I graduated from university, they offered me a job at the bank, but I was also a professional rodeo cowboy at the time. And so I actually turned it down and was just planning on being a cowboy. And I continued to do that for a while. And then I decided that I should probably also get a real job. And so I went back, and the bank did still have a position for me at that time. And so I was in the banking industry for a while, and I loved it. It was a great industry, and I moved up pretty quick, and within a short time I was actually a bank manager. I had my own branch. And the thing about that I really loved was it was what we called a full service branch, where I managed the branch, but I was also the person that worked with the business people and the agriculture people and stuff, and did all their loans. And so it gave me an opportunity to sit down with these entrepreneurs and business owners and really dissect their businesses, see what they were doing, and all those sort of things. And so it was a great opportunity to really get in that position and, in some instances, be a mentor and to help them with their financial side of things. But I also had always had a real desire to be an entrepreneur. And so while I was at the bank, I was into real estate. I had a mini storage facility and different things like that. But then I was actually with one of my banking clients one day, and he had a number of businesses. And at the time he was building homes, and he had a catalog on his desk, and it was for manufactured stone. So the artificial stone veneer that you see on houses and whatnot. And he made the suggestion, you should try to figure this out. And so I did. I quit the bank and started making rocks. Found someone that would train me. And it was I remember I went to Missouri and learned how to do it. And I was flying back to Canada, and I remember sitting in Dallas in the airport thinking, this is so much easier than I thought. This is going to be so easy. And I went home, and we were going to start our manufacturing. And there was a specific color that I really wanted to have our first product, and it was called Dakota Brown. It was copying one of my competitors. And I thought, this is so easy. I'm going to be killing it. And so the next day we made it, and the next day we came to take it out of the molds, and I brought it out, and the stone was pink. And, I had all these plans. I was going to keep our first stone on my shelf, and it was going to be my pride and joy, but that ended up thrown as far as I could throw it. And so what I learned is there was a steep learning curve. And so through the process of that company and different entrepreneurial ventures I've been in, I've had an opportunity to learn a lot from my own mistakes, from my own successes, those sort of things. And I always have had a desire to coach, and I've had a lot of opportunities to mentor people through the process. I used to go to Hawaii every year and work with students at Brigham Young University in Hawaii. And it was usually students from developing nations, and help them with their business plans and then be a judge and stuff. And so it was a really nice opportunity to be a mentor with them. And so throughout this process, I'd have a lot of conversations with one of my partners, Dave, and we would talk about, I would tell him that I would love the opportunity to be a coach, and I'd take some training and stuff on the coaching side of things. And one time when I was down here in Arizona, he called me and he says, I've got someone you should meet. And it ended up, I met this guy, and he's a very successful coach. And he has a very similar background to me, that he was in the manufacturing industry and started coaching. And after meeting with him for a while, he just said, why aren't you doing it? You've got the credentials, you've got the background, all those things, you want to do it. And
so
that was kind
you.
of, exactly. He was the one that kind of pushed me and gave me the courage to say, yeah, I can do this. And so I took some more training and stuff, but then I got into the coaching. And, personal development's always been something I've really enjoyed for myself. Yep. But so got into the coaching, and it's kind of gone a few different ways, because originally, I got some of my certifications to be a business coach. And so a lot of the focus was on the business side of things. But something that I personally love so much is the personal development, the mindset, and self-education, all those things. And so, and even if I'm coaching specifically for business, that stuff's all still involved. And so that's where a lot of my focus has been. But yeah, so I'm still CEO of the company Kodiak Mountain Stone, and I still run that, but I'm also putting a lot of my focus into the coaching now, and something that I really love. And as we were talking earlier, I've got the podcast and the coaching and a lot of things now, so it's been fun.
That is absolutely amazing. There's so much that you just told us that we didn't know about. So this is so from what I'm gathering, it's been like a transition and a journey from like a rodeo cowboy to banker to
then entrepreneur, business coach,
wanting to find rocks, make your own rock, and then finding yourself a coach, and then finally, I guess, if I won't be wrong to say, that you finally found your real passion, which is to coach people and mentor people, and
Yeah, and I've always known that was a passion, because even besides looking at it from a business coaching standpoint or a success coaching standpoint, I've actually been a basketball coach for about 20 years. And I was coaching when I was in Canada. I was helping coach high school boys basketball. Right. And it was when my oldest daughter, Tia, was very young, and she'd be on the bus with us all the time. And, she was always with the team, and she loved basketball. And she actually, there's a girl in our community that had been very successful in basketball, and her brother was on the team that I coached and stuff, and she really admired her. And I think it was about fourth grade, she told me, so in Canada, each province has a team that represents the province, and they play in nationals and that. And in fourth grade, she told me she was going to be playing on that team. And so I ended up transitioning from coaching high school boys basketball, and then I started coaching her at a young age and kind of followed her up. And she did end up playing for 3 years for the Alberta basketball team. And
then we've been seeing her. Your story, that's quite inspirational.
You must be a really proud dad.
Oh, absolutely. So when she got to high school in Canada, I wasn't coaching the high school girls team there, and so she went there. But then when we moved down to Arizona, the school she was going to asked me to coach, and so I started coaching down here again. And I coached for a few years after she graduated as well. So it's been great. And I love coaching. I've coached my son's football team, stuff like that. Just coaching has been a passion for me.
That's your passion, and this is, your journey great. And your experiences are absolutely incredible. And thank you so much for sharing so much with us, because it really brings life to your personality, to someone who's joined us. And I'm sure our viewers have genuinely enjoyed getting to know so much about you. So
thank you.
Yeah. So let me add something over here, that how I came to know you. That when I was always looking towards something inspirational and motivational, because I was always talking to these two that I want to get a mentor or coach sometime. So then I came across your work, And then found like since February, I've been following your work, and I've been following your success strategies podcasts. I was loving it. And then during the pandemic, you just launched the Momentum Series course. So I was quite intrigued that I wanted to do this course. That what's so special about this course? And every day in your podcast, you were talking about it. So I was like, I just texted you now. I'm going to do it. So you were quite humble. It's like, okay, just let me know your feedback, and we're going to talk about it. So when I did the first module, and after doing the first module, I was quite like bumped up that I wanted to know the other two. What happens in the other two? So you just set it up for like the other 2 days. So I just texted you that I want it now. So and I quite remember that you mentioned in the story too that I love reading her feedbacks, and then I was quite happy that, oh my god, this is something this really good. So that now I want to talk about that how it helped me. So it helped me in such a way that I always knew that something helps us, and the three things it has taught me that we can change things that we can control is our mindset and our preparedness that can make us the leaders, and by while making us the leader, it can guide us to fully tap into the potential, to tap into the energy and recognize our potential, and to just get on the path. So it was amazing. So I figured out my why, I figured out my goals, and after doing that, we have just set up this Nornway thing. And I was constantly watching and then getting insights from your daily podcast. So it's amazing. So now, Dev, can you talk more about the Momentum Series course and tell our viewers that what it is about?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And I really did appreciate the feedback that you were giving me on that. And, it made...
I want to add, sorry, that is why we call you the legend, because you see, like, Misha's idea was to create this, and it happened right after she got off the Momentum series. So you're the legend for us.
Thank you.
It led to the
So it was actually interesting. It really made me realize how the internet makes the world a smaller place, because Misha was giving me feedback and talking about the course, and like she said, she went through the first module, and then I have it set up. I think however many days later you get the second one, and she's like, I don't want to wait. I need that next one. Can you give me the next one? And so, we were communicating back and forth, and then I was looking at her profile, and this was on Instagram, and I was looking at her profile, and I'm like, all right, well, one thing I know, she's not in Canada, she's not in the United States. And so I kind of started searching around, and so that's when we got talking, and I realized that the cool thing about what I'm doing right now is it's not just impacting people around me.
Yeah.
To be able to right now be on this call with you guys.
Absolutely.
We're 12-hour different time zones.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Really... I was quite amazed.
You've touched our lives as well. I mean, that's how amazing it is.
Well, thank you. That is it's an honor. But when this, so I was with my son, and we were on a recruiting trip for football. But my son, he's going into his senior year of high school, and right. we had been to a couple schools in California. We had been to some schools in Utah, and I think we had 3 more schools that we were going to visit. And we were sitting, having lunch at Southern Utah University, waiting to go to their football practice. And that's when the governor there announced that because of the pandemic, the COVID-19, they were shutting everything down. And so right then, their practices got shut down, and all the schools we were going to go to, everything got canceled. And, right then it was like, well, I guess we get in the car and we drive home. And so I got home and I got thinking about it. And, I was looking at what I thought was going to happen with the shutdown and the pandemic and everything. And I knew there was going to be a lot of people impacted. And, there's 2 ways to look at it. One, there's going to be people losing their jobs, losing their businesses, all those things. and it's not going to be good. But at the same time, you look at any time in history, some of the biggest companies that exist today started in the worst economic times. And so my thought with the Momentum series was I wanted to put some things together just as a free course that could give some inspiration, but some guidance as well, because I thought there's going to be people that need to be able to have the mindset that they're looking for the opportunities, whether it's, you know, what they're currently doing and just realizing that there are going to be opportunities coming out of this, or if it's been quite a while since I actually recorded those series, so I don't remember exactly everything I talked about. But one of the things I remember is the first time I went into the grocery store and there's lineups and the shelves are empty. And I just got thinking to myself that when this is over, that's what's going to happen with businesses. And it's the people that are ready and prepared and have been ready and prepared throughout this process. When we can start getting back to whatever normal is, and they're at the front of the line, they're going to lead the pack. And it's going to be the ones that are sitting back and waiting. When things open up again, they're going to miss the boat because everyone that's been preparing themselves and getting ready is out front already. And so I thought it was a way to kind of help people, one, get their goals figured out, get the direction where they want to go figured out, and have some clarity around that, and try to develop what that path is going to look like. And then the next part of it is also, as Misha was saying, knowing your why behind each of those. And, you know, Simon Sinek's the one that really makes the why popular. Exactly. But really, when you know for each thing what your real meaning is, what your why is behind your goals and those things, it really changes what's pushing you to achieve goals. You know, when you have a bad day and you don't want to be working on something, but you can think back to what your real why is, then it really gives you the motivation to keep going. And the process we go through isn't just like, okay, what's your why? It's like, you got to put some thought into it, and it really can be an eye opener to figure out what those are.
And in that course, sorry to just add in that course, you just given a beautiful exercise that how to find out your why. It's like 7 level deep. So I didn't know that what my why was, and then after doing that, like, oh man, I really still have to work on it. So.
That was a process that I learned from Dean Graziosi, and when I had done it for myself, I thought that is such a powerful tool that people need to be able to understand how to do this. And yeah, I think it's a great course, and that's why I wanted to make it a free course, so people could look at these things and go through this and get some direction through some tough times.
Jeff, you mentioned something, and I you know, that's something I've also read up about, and it's something that's really interesting, and I guess it is definitely related to your article on mindset. And you said that, you know, people, one of the most successful businesses that are created are actually created in the worst economies, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
So, and that is absolutely like fascinating, right? Like when I hear that, and I've read up about it, I mean, there was some, maybe after the First World War, the Second World War, there was the story about this businessman who, you know. So can you just, you know, talk a bit along those lines in relation to your article, the mindset? Like, how does that work? Like, you know, when your ships are sinking around you and you're like getting prepared and ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, as I've put more work into it and everything, you know, shifting from that, I worked on this course, and then I kind of made a complete shift. And the next course I developed was a business marketing course. But so much I end up focusing on these topics again. And so after I got the marketing accelerated course done, my shift had kind of gone back to this. And the clients I'd been working with, this had really been a topic we had been talking about. And I had an opportunity to speak at a virtual international summit, and they left it wide open on what I wanted to talk about. And so I kind of took some of the things that I had been teaching in the momentum series. But what I had really been studying a lot was just how our mindset impacts all these things. Because when I can work with a client and they keep talk, and actually even not taking it from a client, I'll take a step back and talk about working with my basketball players.
Right.
When they've got the negative mindset, you know, they miss a shot. The next time they come down, they're scared to take another shot or something like that.
Exactly.
When that happens, it's just a negative spiral. And so to get them back to the top, there's so much work to do that. And if you can have the mindset that can keep you at the top all the time, that you know it doesn't matter if I miss that shot. Well, actually in the momentum series, I talked about Klay Thomas from the Golden State Warriors. When he was missing his shot, he had done that so many times practicing throughout his life. He knew he could do it, so he didn't quit shooting. And then when it started falling for him again, he had that confidence and momentum and kept going. And so the importance of having the proper mindset plays so many factors throughout your life. And so when your mindset's in the right place, even when negative things are happening around us, and you can have the right mindset, you can have a lot better opportunity and better chance of recognizing opportunities that are out there. Because when your focus is on the negative stuff, an opportunity might pop up over here that you don't even see because all your focus is over here.
Right.
We had talked about the RAS earlier. Do you want me to go into that area?
Why not? I mean, this is you've come
Why
up
not?
with a
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant article, and it's on our website, and for those who haven't read it, I mean, yes, absolutely, I think this is it's phenomenal what you've written. So please do talk about it.
Okay, thanks. So your RAS, I'm not a doctor, but your RAS is your reticular activating system, and it's just a small part in your brain. And basically what it is, it's a filter, because we have so much going on around us that it chooses what we focus on. Because even right now, you're not focusing on the feeling of your clothing on your skin, the pounding of the blood in your head. There's so many things that are happening around us that we don't focus on. But your RAS is a filter that tells your brain what you should be focusing on. And so an example that I like to use is when we moved here to Arizona, I bought Tia, my daughter, a new car, and it was a little black Mitsubishi Spider. It's a little convertible, little sports car. It's a really cool little car, but I had never seen one in my life, to my knowledge. And we bought it, and all of a sudden I'm seeing this car everywhere. And it's not that they weren't there; they just weren't important to me before.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing when you go buy a dress and you've never seen it before, and all of a sudden you see 3 other ladies wearing that dress.
Exactly. That's
So-
that's
That's an analogy which us ladies, it totally clicked with us because I guess it's kind of like when you become in tuned to a certain kind of perspective, then you start looking and clearly kind of aligning your vision with that as well, and you start noticing things more. So that's really interesting. The whole
So where the importance of that comes is that gives you the ability, you can control what you're focusing on. And the way I talk about it in the article is, okay, taking one more step back, when you have a conversation in your head, it's almost always in the form of a question. Even right now, you probably just said, is it? It's asking and answering questions all the time. And so the thing that you can do is change the habitual questions that you're asking yourself. And when you start focusing on that, you can really change your outcomes and opportunities. So the biggest thing on that, because you're still, there's going to be times you have negative thoughts or questions come in your mind. But when you start focusing on it and focusing on what your habitual questions are, you'll recognize that and you can change your thought pattern that way. And so what I've done in that mindset article that you guys have on your website is I've also attached that you can get
The
what I
questions.
call mindset.
Yeah, the questions. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
questions.
And so the purpose of those are I've got questions that you ask yourself every month. I've got questions you ask yourself every week. And then the most important ones are the ones you ask yourself every morning. And these are mine from this morning.
Wow.
And then you
Look
ask yourself another set of questions every night. And
Yeah.
then what I've added recently to it is I used to have every month you write out your goals.
Yeah.
So, but the thing I've changed is I do that every day now. So every morning I go through these questions, ask myself, and that's telling myself that those are the important things to me. And then when I list all my goals as well, those are in my mind and those are important to me. So when something happens that maybe I wouldn't have recognized it happening, but it's
Right.
related to one of those questions or it's related to one of my goals, I'm going to recognize that opportunity. And
Right.
so
That's
yeah.
Wow.
that's very very good.
That's amazing. That's
Amazing. I had a question regarding that actually. I've
Yeah.
been journaling nearly all my life, and I read up those questions that you gave us. You were so kind to provide us with them. They're such holistically comprehensive questions, and they kind of tick all the boxes of a perfect, productive, fulfilling day that one could live. My question is, how did you come up with what was your thought process behind those specific questions? I mean, they're so comprehensive and they're so direct and they're so amazing to, just focus on. What was your mindset behind those questions?
So the questions that are involved there have kind of evolved over time. And you had sent me a message about journaling, and I love that because that is part of the reason all this came to be, is because I was actually reviewing a book for a book release for Benjamin Hardy, called Personality Isn't Permanent. And Benjamin Hardy is very big on journaling. And so I actually was watching some of his presentations and studying some of his stuff, along with he talks about it in his book. And he actually had some videos about how he does his journaling. And I started watching that and just realized how much power is in it. And then I also, I follow and study Brendan Bouchard a lot. And he does the same things with asking questions and going through stuff. And so basically what I did is, through anyone that I would consider a mentor to me, I've tried to combine everything I've been taught. And I just took everything and figured what would be something that would work for me. And so that's when someone gets these questions, I think they're great for everybody and valuable. But there might be a specific question that someone says, I also need to add this into my daily questions. Or, I'd rather have this one than this one, or I need to change this one. And so those were designed for me. but that's why I go through them myself every day. And I think the most important part, and this is where it really triggers your RAS, is to do them every single day. When I presented in that summit I was talking about, one of the questions was, well, do you do it Monday to Friday? No, I do it every single day. And there's times at night I'll be getting home late, ready to go to bed, and then I'll think, I haven't gone through my questions. And really, it's probably, you skip those questions, go to bed and not worry about it. It's not going to be the end of the world. But having the discipline to say, no, I'm going to take 5 minutes before I go to bed and go through those questions.
This is actually hard work. This is actually hard work doing.
Yeah, but those questions really defined my way of journaling. I mean, they helped you.
Yeah.
They were questions
Brilliant thing about your questions is that they were so relatable. And I guess, what I have understood is because you've been into, obviously you're, and you've been coached by some great people as well. And, you've been through a journey and, and you've been involved in so many things. And because I sense that, you are so much into self-development and helping others find everything I've been taught. So you really deconstructed questions, and I think you really kind of done it so much of your life, I guess, or if you've given it so much time that it's deconstructed to a point where I think you've just made it put it down in a way that it's relatable to everyone's psyche. And that is what I find is absolutely great about these questions. And I would highly recommend our viewers to put those questions down into their lives as well, because we're going to do it. And they are totally like relatable to everybody, like Hafsa is saying, because they've been deconstructed, and it is very obvious that you've gone down into the psyche, and you've questioned things in life, and you've questioned the approaches and the attitudes, and negative versus positive. So I wanted to ask you, you've also said in your article, you said we become what we think about, and the difference between successful people and those who are not successful is their goals, and things won't get better unless you won't think better. So please do just put some light on how is it that thinking a certain way and thoughts can completely change your life, can be so transformative.
Absolutely. Look back at some of the most historic, influential books ever written. Think and Grow Rich, How a Man Thinketh, and I mean, you can go on and on and on. And it's, Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret.
Yep.
It's not a secret. It's the things that we think about, we get, right? And so when we can, and that's just how this RAS works and everything, what we want to do, if we're always thinking about it, if we're, I don't remember, I think it was Mark Victor Hansen, I heard the quote was, if you want a bigger answer, ask a bigger question. And
exactly,
as we're thinking about these things, we're going to recognize how to achieve them. And so that's the biggest thing, is what we want to do, what we want to become is what we have to think about. In fact, that's even, at night I go through my questions, but I also, the last thing I do before I go to bed is I visualize my future. I visualize my biggest dreams, and I fall asleep thinking about my future, the future that I want. Whether, some days it's something I'm doing with my family, traveling or whatever. Some days it's my dream home. Some days, it's different all the time, but I visualize it because it's what I think about is really, truly what I feel I will get. So that's where it goes. And
so
I just want to jump back to,
that's amazing.
Please go ahead. Yep.
I just wanted to jump back to the questions one more. And one thing I want to point out about the questions is I think there's one question in the morning questions that is more important than any of the questions. And that is, what can I do to step outside of my comfort zone today?
Comfort zone.
Yeah.
And the reason is,
that I practice daily.
It happens to be my favorite question amongst those questions.
But it's hard.
Yes,
and to think of that every single day, to think, what can I do today? Well, I did this yesterday. What am I going to do today? Yeah. And when you start, it's hard. But what that does to you is when you're looking for a way to step out of your comfort zone every single day, pretty soon your comfort zone goes like this. Your comfort zone expands.
Yes.
And you're not scared.
It's like a muscle. Things. It's like a muscle.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. The more you practice it. Yeah.
That I think that is
because
Go ahead, Misha.
Yeah, because I'm adding to your point, because this practicing going out of your comfort zone, I've done several courses on neuroplasticity, how our brain is plastic, how we can change it, and I've been reading books about it, The Power of Thinking Big and Napoleon Hill, and the burning desire to change anything that you want. And I've seen that when I've developed that mindset, it actually, like, it's the magic, like it's magic, like your mindset is just like people are saying it, but if you actually practice it, it just changes everything. Like it's just like magic. So every day I try to do those things that I, in my wildest dreams, I know that I can't do it, but when I do it, I was like, oh my god, like I'm the happiest girl in the world. So yeah, so that's the thing.
But at the same time, if you keep focusing on negative outcomes, you're going to attract them as well.
Yeah, talk to us about that as well. Like just a few, about negative energy. One of our viewers just one of the questions or the comments that came up was about how you attract negative energy. So talk to us a bit about that as well.
Absolutely. It's the exact same concept with your RIS and all those of what you think about, what you focus on is, you can say it's what you attract, but no, it's what you recognize, what you see. Because when I'm focused on something positive, I'm going to recognize the positive opportunities and the things that are going to help me achieve that goal. But the same thing, if I'm focused on the negative, the positive things are still there. I'm not recognizing because all
Yes.
my focus is on the negative.
Yeah.
And so as I focus on the negative, I'm going to just get more of it. So when you can change that focus,
Exactly.
and I remember when I was in the banking industry and I was going through the training to be an account manager, I had quite a long commute, and that was actually when I really started getting into personal development. It was a long time ago, but
Right.
I had to drive a lot every day, and so that's when I started listening to Tony Robbins.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
remember one of the days, and I vividly remember doing this, and he was talking about how you can control your emotions and those sort of things. And he talked about, he says, sit, and I could do this while I was driving because it was easy. He's like, sit how you would be if you're depressed, lower your chin, slump your shoulders, all those things, and feel depressed. And we go through
Yeah.
that exercise. Then he says, okay, now sit up straight, pull your shoulders back, hold your chin high. And he does all these things to get you feeling in a good mood. And he says, and now be depressed.
Yeah.
and you can't.
One of those videos,
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
beautiful. And yeah, that is so true. And one of his favorite things that he said is that there are two things that really change your life. It's the choices you make and the emotional state you are in the moment that you make those choices. So,
Yes.
and that I think resonates with your message, which is, if you're thinking positively, you're going to attract that positive energy. And if you're in a negative energy, then that's what you're going to get. So that is absolutely brilliant. I also heard you talk about on your podcast just the other day, you were mentioning habits and the importance of consistency, not just having habits, but, and then you were talking about how you have this amazing library and you read a lot of books. And since you mentioned Tony Robbins, so I remember you brought him up and you said, this guy, he told me that he read 700 or something books. So I was like, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to read. And you said, I have a pretty amazing. So talk to us about the importance of reading.
Sure. And so what I talked about the other day in that podcast on habits was exactly what I talked about when I get home late and I'm tired and I don't want to go through my questions.
Yeah.
And it's not going to make a difference if I do or not, probably.
Right.
But when I have the discipline and the habit of doing it,
yeah,
that's where the success habits come from. And so same thing with reading. If you can discipline yourself to read 30 minutes a day, 10 pages a day, whatever it is, and
Right.
stick to that, it might not make a world of a difference if you skip a day or two.
Yeah.
But when you develop the habit of doing that every day, that's when things compound upon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you guys can see on the video, there's my library behind me.
Yeah, I was actually looking at
This is
And so I do. That's one of the habits that I really enjoy is self-education. And, it started just with books. I was able to accelerate it with audiobooks and podcasts. I love podcasts.
Yeah.
But I really think now, and I've talked about this in podcasts before too, when I first heard Tony Robbins say, I read 700 books and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I would read a book and, I'd get done the book and I would, okay, next. My goal was to get to 700 books. It wasn't, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not going to remember everything, but if I can remember 1% of something, if I read 700 books, I'm going to remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, the difference, the thing that I've changed somewhat is something I learned through Darren Hardy, and I don't remember what he calls it, but being more focused and intentional about what you're reading and what you're studying. The way Darren Hardy does it, I think he says choose like 4 or 5 books for a quarter and 2 or 3 audios and then 1 course. And then that quarter have all those books, all those courses, all those audios focused on that one topic so that you can really immerse yourself and really understand what you're reading. So that you're not just reading, you're learning and understanding. And I think one of the things, in fact, it was in my podcast this morning that I talked about, knowledge isn't power, it's potential power until you put action behind it. And once you put
Yes.
action behind it, so if you're just reading, you're reading. But if you're reading, you learn something and you can put action behind it, then you can do something. And that goes back to the momentum series. You got the action, you get the results, you got the belief in certainty, back to potential, and it goes in the cycle. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I was
amazing.
that the importance of reading, and when I heard you, I wanted to ask you when I saw your library, so it just occurred to me, and you said that what you just mentioned, that it's not just about reading. You mentioned about highlighting and coming back to that, and so I mean, can you in the end just recommend maybe a few self-development books that you think can help people who are watching right now? I mean, which ones are the ones, a couple that you would recommend to our viewers?
absolutely. And it really depends what you're trying to do. But on my site, jeffheggie.com, I actually at the top you can see my reading list, and you can click on there and
Yes.
go there.
Yes.
But
Their blog.
there are definitely some classics that I always push, and that's Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People. So Napoleon Hill and Dale Carnegie, those are great.
Beautiful book.
And
That's a wonderful book.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Read those.
And
I read
then
those.
when you're looking at personal development and stuff like that, anything by Tony Robbins is great too. I really love his stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're also
Yes.
if you're looking at if you're an entrepreneur, some of the ones that I strongly recommend are Russell Brunson's books. Expert Secrets, .com Secrets. The one we were talking about studying a book. I just finished yesterday or the day before, Traffic Secrets, and it took me forever to read it because I would go through a chapter and then I'd be going back and just really breaking it down.
Yeah.
But probably Expert Secrets, if you had to pick one out of them, that's the one I would say from Russell Brunson, because it really gives you some great knowledge about yourself if you put in the work to figure out some of the things he teaches. And then actually, and there's so many, I could tell you so many books. I've got one that I love, and this is one I would recommend for anybody. Good friend of mine, Richie Norton, he's got a book called The Power of Starting Something Stupid.
Okay.
And it is a great book. He's got some great philosophies and great lessons in that book as well.
Right. So guys,
So
there's a whole list of recommendations of books, self-help books that you can read.
yes.
And would you like to talk to us about all your wonderful transformative self-development, entrepreneurial courses that you're offering?
Courses.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that opportunity. I guess, first of all, you can find them all at jeffheggie.com. So just jeffheggie.com. And they're just down, scroll to the bottom, and they're all there. But I've got a few. Number one, the Momentum series. It's a free course. And so, yeah, I strongly recommend people to grab that and go to your website, read the article on mindset, and get the mindset questions there. But for courses, I've got a number, and I'm going to leave one to the end because it's one that's special to me right now. But from the business side, well, first of all, I do one-on-one coaching, and there's different opportunities there. But on the business side, I've got a program called Marketing Accelerated, and it's a great course for anyone that's a business owner, mostly looking into how to generate more leads, more conversions without spending more money on marketing.
Okay.
I've got a program called the e-learning marketing system where I've taken a year's worth of coaching and put it into a do-it-yourself online program. And so someone that doesn't want to commit to having a one-on-one coach, it's a great business course for that. And then I've got things like I've got monthly group coaching that I've just started that I just do one time a month. I do a session like this and I teach on that. And then I also send out the replays for people that weren't on it. And then I've got a mastermind group that has been absolutely outstanding. The results that we've seen from that and the people that are just connecting and the things that are happening has been really cool. But the one that I'm really excited about is never been heard of before, because you four are the only ones that I've ever told anything about it.
Yeah.
So
Well, this is a
This is a
special,
special moment for us.
special day for us. Please do tell us. And you told us,
Do
so
tell us.
do tell
Yes,
us.
our viewers are excited to know about it too. So yeah.
So because of everything I've been focusing on and working on recently, I decided to put a new course together, and it's called High Achievers Mindset Secrets. And it does pull in some of the things that I teach in the Momentum series, but it's really a course on developing mindset, confidence, and all those things pulled into one course. It's going to be a 5-module course. So it is going to probably, till everything's ready and it's fully launched, is probably going to be another couple weeks.
Okay.
But what I've done, because I knew I was going to be on this today,
Right.
is I have made it available. It's going to be a $47 US course, which I put it at that
Okay.
because I thought I was going to put it a lot more, but I thought I want to get this out as much as I can, because especially right now, it's so important. But what I've done is I've set it up right now for any one of your listeners. They can go to it right now and get it for $29.
Amazing.
Like I said,
Awesome. Wow.
it won't launch for probably a couple weeks, and so there's a bunch of things on there that say if you're
That's
here,
Guys,
if
hurry
you're
up,
early
hurry
bird.
up. It's a limited time offer.
Yes,
But
guys. That sounds brilliant. High achievers mind. Is it high achievers mind?
Mindset.
Mindset.
secret.
High achievers mindset. Yeah.
High achievers
I-
mindset. Just
But you
limited
can't find it. You can't find it on my website. So
Okay.
where you have to go to find it is mindset.jeffheggie.com, and that's the only way you're going to find it right now, because it's not public anywhere yet.
Yeah.
So
Dr.
guys,
Hafsa, can you write that out?
Do put that down, and do make sure that you check this out. It sounds absolutely fantastic, and it's a fantastic opportunity. I mean, oh my God, I'm excited, and I'm definitely going to be checking this out.
I'm thrilled. Yeah, we're definitely gonna enroll into this. So,
Sure.
and whoever is with us,
If you do, make sure it defaults to the full price, but you'll see right under that you can change the price down to the $29, and so you can get that.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
is there a coupon code or something, or just we can just click on it?
You
and
just
then...
have to click on it. Yeah, just choose the cheaper product.
Okay,
Thank
coming
you so much, Jeff, for sharing this with us and choosing this moment and this time and this opportunity to reveal about wonderful course. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I just one last question that I wanted to ask, that you have discussed a couple of things, a lot of amazing things, and a lot about the mindset thing, and I've been practicing those as well. But sometimes during practicing those mindset questions, and somehow like that you have to go on that road, and that mindset questions are there. So when that those questions, you just struggle, and you're having a low moment, and when you're depressed, and can you just guide us that how one can discipline in order to just get the sustain those habits? So can you just shed light onto it?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. I mean, I would love to know that. How do you sustain that discipline when you're in your
your moments? Yeah.
You know what, it all begins before that point, because if you leave it to that point, and it's a rough morning and you just don't feel like it, you're not going to do it. But when you have made that decision, and especially if you've gone through the course and know your why behind each of those, and you've made that decision that this is a practice I'm going to do, this is something that I know I'm going to benefit in the long run, and you can still, when you don't feel like it, you'll still go through that process, then you're going to get those rewards from talking about the habits, doing those things, because and really on days like that, they might not be as effective, but then the next day or the day after, when you're feeling better and you're looking back, then it's also a win for you. It's something that you thought, you know what, I didn't want to do that, but I still was disciplined enough that I did go through that process, and that's just another victory that you add to keep things going. Because like I said earlier, there are definitely going to be days that you're just not there. You're not wanting to do that. But when you get in that position and you can reflect back on what your whys are, that should help you to barrel through those.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your time.
Thank you so much for joining us. And you there you are. You shared some real gems, and your history and all your experiences and all your coaching tips and your courses that you're offering. I think you're doing we called you a legend because you really are somebody who's not just you're an entrepreneur, but you're working to make the world a better place. You're trying to improve people's lives. People find their passion. So you really are somebody that we're very inspired, and we're truly honored to have you on our show today and talk so much to you. We definitely ran over our time, and we did not mind a second of it. And we could just keep talking to you.
And there are questions, and there are a series of questions. So quickly, we're going to move towards the questions.
So
quickly go through them. We've pretty much covered all of the stuff that people have asked about, except one question by Nini. They're asking any advice for new parents on how to cope with the struggle of balancing work and family life.
So this is something we were talking about before our show started. Jeff, since you have
absolutely,
please do share some tips.
So one of the things, and this might help as well, at jeffheggie.com on my blog, there's a post called the 5 productivity habits I learned during quarantine or something like that.
Right.
But some of the things that I think are important in that, because it's not a balance. You've got to, it never will be a balance, but it can tie into when you're going through these mindset questions, because in my book, I've got my mindset questions on the sides, and then I've got my calendar in the middle. And so one of the things you need to do, and again, it's something that you've got to discipline yourself to stick to, and that is what I call block time. And that's, figure out the times when you've got to focus on, and this can be, I'm tying this into the external life and the business life, tying everything together. But this is the same thing. Even if when you're at work, figure out your block time and figure out, okay, this project, I'm going to be focusing on this from, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And at that point, you've got to discipline yourself and discipline everyone around you to not be giving you any interruptions. That means no social media, no emails, nothing. You're focused on that. So when that comes to a family and work-life balance, it's those times I'm done work and I'm going to be with the family. So those sort of things. And if you can block them like that and be disciplined with them, then you can start accomplishing those things. And, even in some of the questions, it will be, what's one of the things that's going to stress you today and how do you deal with it? Those are the things that you've got to realize that, in that block time, how am I going to deal with it if I don't get everything accomplished? Because it doesn't necessarily mean I double the block time and push something else away. You've got to be able to stick to that timing.
Yeah.
Wow,
that answers everything. Yeah,
I can totally, understand it because I'm a parent myself, and yes, block time. So guys, Nini, I hope that has answered your question. I think that was a great answer.
I'd just like to thank our audience. Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Rabia. Thank you, Nini. Thank you, Danish. And thank you very much for joining us today. And your questions, they kept the session very lively. And everybody else was watching us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeff, for taking out time and coming for us.
Thank you to you, Jeff, for joining us and bringing so much life and intellect and wisdom into our show today. I think this is definitely going to go down as one of our best shows we've probably
live shows, and the longest probably.
You really are an inspiration. And we wish you all the best from our Norn team, and keep up, the amazing work and
the good work.
We hope to become part of it ourselves as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to spend with you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay. Have a great rest of the day. I believe it's
Have
still
a
11
great.
o'clock. You have your rest of the day there. So, yes, love to the family. Thank you, and thank you, our viewers, for watching. We will be
Thank
signing
you.
off.
Thank you so much. We will be signing off. Okay.